Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the National Data for Good Case Competition. I'm Professor Matthew Lanham. I serve as the academic director for Purdue's Master of Science in Business Analytics and Information Management program, and I'm also the designer for this competition. So this is the second year we've offered this national competition. Last year when we did it, we had $25,000 in prizes, and this year we have $45,000 in total prize money. So for this kickoff call, the first thing we're going to do is walk through and thank our sponsors. And then after that, I'm going to walk through the competition design. Basically, all the information you need is on the website. And then after that, Prediction Guard, who's also one of our co-sponsors, they're going to walk through the actual case. And to get your participation points for this kickoff call, basically there'll be a link that Prediction Guard will share where you can provide your first name, last name, university email, and answer a few quiz questions about what's covered. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and walk through our sponsors. So the first sponsor for the Data for Good competition is Purdue's Master of Science in Business Analytics and Information Management program. This program's ranked 6th nationally in the U.S. This last graduating class had $110,000 average starting salaries post-graduation. And over the last 3 years, we've had at least a 99% placement rate within 6 months after graduation. The program's 12 months in length. It runs August to August. And the program is also just recognized this year as the UPS George D. Smith Prize winners for the top analytics program. So that award's actually comes from Informs, who is also one of the co-sponsors of this competition. And we'll talk about who Informs is in just a minute. One of the unique opportunities about Purdue's MS BAME program is not only does it have a widely or world renowned curriculum, they also have some really great professional development opportunities, such as getting professional certifications paid for, such as AWS Cloud Practitioner, Tableau Desktop certification. There's also funding to attend and present your capstone work at the Informs Business Analytics Conference, which is held in mid-April every year. The other unique thing about that program is 100% of the graduates are automatically Informs certified analytics professionals upon graduation. The second program that's sponsoring the Data for Good competition this year is Purdue's Master of Science in Global Supply Chain Management program. Based on U.S. News and World Report, they have the #3 ranked production operations management department. The students or the graduates from that program earn on average $83,200 in average starting salary. Last year, at least 87% were placed within 6 months of graduation. And another unique thing about this program is it has a 12 and 18-month program option. So if you wanted to do it faster, you could do the 12-month program, or you can extend and do 18 months. It's STEM designated, so that for international students, that means you get 3 years of OPT. And they also provide analytics certification support, such as AWS, Tableau, and SAS. They have some wonderful experiential learning opportunities. And there's a partnership with MIT where if you do MIT's MicroMasters credential, essentially you can waive up to 10 credit hours from that program to basically be used here for Purdue's MS Global Supply Chain Management program. The third graduate program that's sponsoring the Data for Good competition is Purdue's MS and Marketing program. It's ranked 6th nationally. Graduates of this program earn on average $72,000 base salary. Last year, or over the past 3 years, at least 85% placement within 6 months of graduation. And they have 2 options for their program, 12-month option or 18-month option. Similar to the other 2 programs, they have analytics certification and professional development support, such as AWS Cloud Practitioner, Tableau Desktop certification. They have Salesforce training. They do a unique city, they call it City Trek. They have a really great alumni network up in New York, and a lot of their students will be able to, they go up to New York City to basically connect with companies and alumni. So just really unique kind of experience with the MS Marketing program. The next sponsor for this competition is the Kickoff Center for Business Analytics and Machine Learning, and they're known for 3 things: engage, execute, and excel. The Kickoff Center tries to create an ecosystem where our industry partners, faculty, and students mutually benefit. Our industry-friendly engagement model facilitates collaboration and excellence at scale. By collaborating with faculty, students, and corporate partners, the Kickoff Center for Business Analytics and Machine Learning enhances research and dissemination of state-of-the-art analytical techniques and information technologies to utilize the vast amounts of data available today in order to deliver actionable insights into business decision-making. We subscribe to Purdue's long-held philosophy of excellence at scale. The idea that to have true impact on the world, you need to reach enough people to enact it. Our industry partners benefit from high-value solutions delivered by our faculty-led interdisciplinary student teams and by developing a talent pipeline for the future. So the Kickoff Center is just a wonderful opportunity here at our school. I also serve as the associate director for that center. The next sponsor for the Data for Good competition is the Institute for Operations Research and Management Science, also known as Informs. So Informs has more than 12,000 members across the globe. Informs is the leading international association for professionals in operations research analytics, management science, economics, behavioral science, statistics, AI, data science, applied mathematics, and similar fields. So this is basically your professional organization. Their motto is saving lives, saving money, and solving problems. Informs is the designer and owner of the Informs Certified Analytics Professional, or CAP, right? So if you weren't familiar with that certification, this certification helps basically differentiate you in the market, showing how you can use industry recognized process model when you design and develop and deliver analytic solutions. So one of the unique things about this competition is everybody will have an opportunity to get training on what is covered in the Informs CAP. So on October 13th, Dr. Beverly Wright, she's a certified analytics professional and widely recognized within the Informs community. She will give 1 to 2 hour training on CAP. And basically the idea, what she'll cover is the 7 CAP job task analyses, also known as 7 JTAs. So the idea here, one of the JTAs is business problem framing. You really need to understand what are the business requirements, who are the stakeholders, being able to clearly articulate what are the potential benefits of actually doing this work. Once you understand and you really nail down what the business problem is, the next phase is to take that business problem and frame it into an analytics problem, right? So you can see, all these different JTAs, these 7 JTAs, data, model building, et cetera, together. If you follow this sort of process model, it's going to help make sure that you spend your time wisely and you have a high chance of delivering a solution that's going to be used in business. So this is just training. We're not asking people to take the actual CAP test, but we are expecting people to get familiar with these 7 JTAs, this sort of framework. So if you make the final national championship round, your team will have to show how did you follow this process model when you designed and you created your solution for the competition. Our next sponsor is Certiport. Certiport is the leader in industry recognized performance-based certifications. Certiport was established in 1997 and acquired by Pearson VUE in 2012 and is headquartered in Lehi, Utah. Globally recognized as the leading provider of certification exam development, delivery, and program management services, Certiport delivers exams through an expansive network of nearly 16,000 Certiport authorized testing centers worldwide, throughout which Certiport delivers more than 3 million exams annually. The markets that Certiport serves include secondary, post-secondary, workforce development, and corporate technology markets. Certiport is active in 148 countries through a combination of employees and strategic partnership, and Certiport provides certification exams in 27 languages. So we're just real thankful that Certiport is one of our sponsors this year. One of the certifications that you will have an opportunity to take is the Microsoft AZ900 Azure Fundamentals certification. And you will actually schedule that certification with Certiport. Okay, so we're just real thankful for them. All right, the next sponsor is Microsoft, and I'm going to hand that over to Liz. You can just tell me when you want me to change slides. I'll be happy to do that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Matthew. And hello, everyone. I'm Liz Budowitz, and I'm part of the Microsoft team that has the fortune to be able to help participate in the Data for Good case competition. We're very excited to partner with Purdue and Certiport and the other sponsors to provide you with some pretty exciting things as part of this competition. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So these are the 4 benefits that Microsoft is bringing to you for the Data for Good competition. I'm going to go into detail on each of these, but basically we're going to talk about Microsoft certification. Matthew talked about the AZ900 certification exam. You will have an opportunity to get trained on that certification and then to actually take that exam. The second thing is Azure for Students. And many of you are probably familiar with Azure for Students, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. The other 2 things are available to you if you pass that AZ900 certification exam. The first thing is you will automatically be qualified for the Microsoft Student Ambassador Program. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then the 4th, but pretty important thing is that we are going to invite you, if you have your AZ900 certification as part of this competition, you'll be invited to join us at a virtual career fair where we can connect you. You will be connected with Microsoft and some of our industry partners for potential employment. All right, next slide. So let's start first with the value of Microsoft certifications. So Matthew talked about the value of the certification from Certiport. And Certiport is Microsoft's exam delivery provider, as Matthew said. And basically, we partner with Certiport on our certification delivery. So the thing about certification across the industry is that it sets you apart. If you've got an industry certification, that sets you apart when you are applying for a job, and when you're on the job, you're up to speed faster than people without a certification. And it's really valuable. And there are some amazing stories. People who are able to find a job faster than their peers when they have certification. So people bring more skills to their job, and so they're able to create more impact more quickly. And then the final thing here is that when you are an employee and you have your certification, we found through this study that 91% of employers think about that certification when they're thinking about people to promote and move up within the organization. So as I said, you'll have the opportunity next Friday and Saturday to be trained on the AZ900 certification exam objectives. And then after that, you have a free exam that you're going to be able to take, which is about $115 value. But through this competition, thanks to Certiport providing those exams for free, you can get your industry certification around AZ900. So I encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity. Plus, it's huge points for your team if you attend the training and you earn your certification. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so Azure for Students, that is a way for you as higher education students to access Microsoft Azure for free. So you get credits, you get a lot of developer tools. There's a huge library of learning information. So as you're developing your solution for Data for Good, think about how you might want to use this free resource of Azure for Students. So if you already have credit, you will get more credit. Azure credit, you can combine your team's credits, plus we can provide you with additional Azure credits to use for your particular case that you're building for this competition. So as you move through building your case, you'll see more information about that. But today you can go to Azure for Students and just take a look at that if you're not familiar with that. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors Program is a program that's run by the same group that does the Azure for Students. They are Microsoft's premier team that focuses on helping students like all of you have the resources that you need from Microsoft to get ramped up on Azure, and then to really showcase your ability with other students and within the community. And so the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Program connects you with students all around the world. You can mentor and offer Microsoft trainings to your peers. on campus, and you really do sort of boost your ability when you're part of the student ambassador program. And if you achieve your AZ 900 certification, either prior to this competition or during this competition, you will automatically be qualified for the student ambassador program. So that's a pretty exciting resource that I think you'll find super helpful when you're thinking about building your portfolio, when you're thinking about building your experience prior to getting employed. All right, next slide, please. So these are the 4 benefits that we've talked about. First thing, get your certification, attend the training next Friday and Saturday. There'll be a link for that training on the website shortly. So be sure and sign up for that. Then be sure you practice and you take your certification exam. That is a huge benefit that you'll want to unlock. Second thing is utilize Azure for Students. You'll have access to these slides, and these links are live when you have the slides. So if you didn't get a chance to write down the AKA or anything, you'll be able to access it from here. And then as a benefit of achieving your certification, you're automatically qualified for the Student Ambassador Program. And we will invite you to attend the virtual career fair, where you'll connect with Microsoft and industry partners for potential employment opportunities. So thank you again. I'm super excited for all of you participating in this competition, and really look forward to seeing more of your cases that you work on. So thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Liz. All right, so I'm going to take over from here, and I'm basically going to walk through sort of the design of this competition. So this kickoff call is recorded. We had a kickoff call yesterday for some other students. It's being recorded, and basically you'll be able to access all this stuff once you register for the competition. So here's the website that you need to basically add to your favorites. I just put it here in the chat. And if you guys have any questions as I'm going along, just put your questions in there. And then, once Dan at Prediction Guard starts walking through his stuff, I'll be able to go back and kind of fill those questions in the chat. All right, so here's the website, Data for Good. We just walked through the sponsors and everything. If you click right here, it says register to participate, and that will take you down to the bottom of the page, okay? So to register for this competition, to get all these benefits, to be able to, get the training and get a free voucher for the certification, you got to pay the $40 as a team. So it's a $40 team fee, not $40 per person. It's a $40 team fee. So once you click here to register, it's going to take you to this website, and you need to put your whole team information in here. So when it says register now, it's not just going to be you registering. You need to make sure you already have your team formed and you have their information. So you need their first name, their last name. I think they're asked for your cell phone. And then the most really important field when you register is your university email, your .edu email. Don't put in there Gmail. I think we have it set up now where it won't let you do that. But anyhow, you got to have your university email. That's basically our proxy to verify that you're a student. Okay, so that's how you do it. Everybody, again, have all your teammates' information before you get to this point to register your team. Once you guys are registered, let me just go back to my deck here. You're basically going to get an email that takes you that says, "Hey, you are now enrolled into Pitch." Pitch is our competition platform where basically we're going to post announcements. If you have questions about the competition as it's going on, you can post your questions in there and we'll field them. Microsoft people can see it. Prediction Guard, who provides the case, those people can see it. Purdue can see it. Basically, any question you have, you can post it there. Everybody can see your question as well as our response. Okay. Another important key part about this Pitch platform, within the Pitch platform will be the link to get to the Kaggle website where the actual case competition is located. Okay. So that's key. It's like you can't just like search and Google where the case is. It's private. You have to have a unique link, and you're only going to get that once you log into the Pitch platform, right? So let me jump back to the website. So that's how you sign up. And before I get into everything, let me just go straight to the points just to make this crystal clear. So this competition is really different than almost every competition I've seen, because it's not just a case. It's not just professional development training to get a certification. Here, once you sign up as a team, you are shooting for points. Basically, you show up, you're going to get points. Okay, so this call that we're having right now, attending this prediction guard workshop to hear about the case, to hear about me talk about the competition. You will have an opportunity to submit a quiz. It's just a few multiple choice questions about the case. You put your name and your university email. That's how we'll be able to link you back to the points. You're going to get points just for showing up. So today you can get 150 points each. As a team, the most you could get is 450 points, right? And that's 5% right there. You already got 5% of the total possible points for the competition. Next week, just like Liz said, this is where we're going to have our training for Microsoft Azure. So we got certified expert trainings on Azure from Microsoft. They are going to be doing the training on Friday and Saturday, so the 8th and the 9th. Microsoft will be able to capture if you watch those training sessions or not. Okay, so the key here is like, oh man, I got class on Friday. I can't sit in that session from 11 to 3 p.m. EST because I got to go to class. Am I going to miss points? No, you're not going to miss points because it's recorded. And again, once you get into the pitch platform, we'll show you the link on how to get to that where you can see the recording. They can capture if you watched it or not. Okay, so whether you watch it in real time, Friday and Saturday, 8th and 9th, or you watch it a week or two later, basically you got 30 days to show up and do that training. And you can get up to 1,200 points as a team. So that's 12% of the competition. Another way to get points is, after you do that training, you've studied the materials a little bit, you may choose to sit for a practice exam. We highly recommend that you try to do the practice exam first, just to get familiar with some of the type of questions, the level of questions you're going to get. Just giving it a shot. Doesn't matter what your score is here, but just trying the practice exam. Again, each of you can earn 150 points, 450 total points for your team. So Microsoft will capture that if you try to do a practice exam. So the third certification, you'll notice here, this is 30% of the competition, right? So this is key. We have 1,500 certification vouchers that we're just ready for you to give out for free. But to get that certification, you got to register for the competition, and then you will schedule your exam with Certiport, and we'll have step-by-step instructions on how to do that. But all you got to do is to schedule it. That's how you don't have to pay for it. You just schedule it. It's free. You go take it, and once you take it, you need to submit what your score is. So you'll get a score. I think it's out of 1,000. I think maybe over 700 or so is like a passing score. But whatever your score is, you need to submit that, and we will take the average of the scores on your team. Okay. The key here is, somebody asked this in the last session, is what if I got 4 people on my team and I don't take the test? What happens? Do you guys just average my 3 teammates? No. Your score is a 0. So your 0 is going to get averaged in, and that's going to pull down all your points. Okay. So again, it's just about showing up, doing your best, and then we'll capture those scores. We'll average your overall team scores to get your points here. So, the idea here is, if everybody on your team got a perfect score, you guys would get, the average would be, 1,000. So you guys could get at most 3,000 points. Another way to get points is later on, and I'll show you the key dates here. After we get past this is, I think it's in October or November. We'll go to the timeline in a minute, but we're going to have another 2-day training later on that focuses on AI 900. So AI 900 is the Azure AI Fundamentals training. Again, it's 2 days, Friday, Saturday, or it could be Thursday, Friday, I'm not sure, but it's 4 hours each day. And again, it will be from certified trainers from Microsoft, just showing up, doing the training. Again, you'll have 30 days after the training's over to watch the videos and complete that to get your points. The next thing is the Informs CAP job task analysis training. This session should go somewhere between an hour to 2 hours. And this will be similar. The format for this training session will be similar to our call today, where we'll have a quiz link in there where you'll be able to provide your name and your university email. And it's just a quiz, right? So that's how we'll capture your points for participating in that. Again, you'll have 30 days. You have 30 days to complete that. We're also offering you the opportunity to take a practice exam for Azure AI, right? So say you did that training, you want to see, well, hey, how do I know how well do I really know this stuff? Take the practice exam, just try, you can earn points, but you're not required in this year's competition to sit and take the actual certification, okay? So we're not providing vouchers for that. What we're really wanting is hoping everybody passes that Azure Fundamentals this year, okay? The very last part of the competition, that's 30% of the competition, is the case itself. And Daniel Whitenack from Prediction Guard is going to walk through that as soon as I'm done talking. But the whole idea here is you will submit your predictions to this case problem via the Kaggle website. Okay, you can submit, like, basically the competition is going to be live today. Once you register, you'll be able to go into Pitch, get that link to the Kaggle website, and you guys could start working literally this weekend if you wanted to. But the competition goes all the way until November 13th. And again, you basically could submit predictions every day if you want to see, hey, is my model getting better? Am I able to really capture what's going on here? Okay. So let me jump up here. So basically the competition is divided into different phases. Again, phase 1 is all these different training sessions, just showing up, trying to do the certification, taking the quizzes. This is how you're going to get points. Once the Kaggle competition is over, we will identify who has the most points within each region. Okay, so based on which school that you're located in, right? So here at Purdue, we're in Indiana, so we're in this region here. Whoever the top graduate team is and the top undergraduate team is, based on the total points, they're going to be the regional champs. Okay, so those regional champs will earn, see if I can find it here, right here, prize details. So the top undergraduate team and top graduate team from each region will share $2,000, right? So top undergrad team will be able to share $2,000. Top graduate team will share or split $2,000 for all regions. Whoever you are, whatever team that is, those 10 teams will get invited to West Lafayette, Indiana at Purdue University campus for the national championship. Okay. In the national championship, you're going to have to present. You're going to have to present, what'd you do? How'd you get such a good score in the Kaggle competition? Maybe all you guys passed the Microsoft Azure certification. You showed up. But basically, we will have a rubric, a judging rubric for the national champions posted in Pitch. And the key things in this rubric will be showing how you followed the Informs CAP JTAs, those 7 domains: business problem framing, analytical problem framing, etc. Showing how you use Microsoft services, right? So that's another key. Maybe you found a better solution using OpenAI or some other technologies. Daniel's going to walk through. Basically, there is no constraints. You guys can use whatever technologies you want for this competition. But one of the key things for the national champions will be, what did you try using Azure Microsoft services, cloud services? That will be a really important part of the judging rubric. Okay, so here you can see the prizes for those that those 10 teams that get invited. The other thing that I want to make crystal clear is even if you're a regional champion, you have to come and participate in the national championship round to get those regional championship winnings. Okay, if you don't show up, you basically just forfeited your regional championship winnings. So that's crystal clear here on the website. Regional winners must attend the final competition round to receive your prize funds. So we're going to have a big gala, big fancy dinner. We're going to have some guest speakers. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to campus and I'm going to randomly present to a bunch of people or to a handful of people. No, we're going to have around 200 people, Informs, Microsoft, corporate partners. Again, you could use this as a great networking event. It's just going to be a really fancy pants kind of celebration to celebrate this competition and to celebrate you. So just so you know, it's a great opportunity. It's a great honor if you make it that far. So eligibility, who can participate? Any students in the United States that's attending a school in the United States can participate. But when you form the teams, you can only have undergraduate students on your team. So you can be in the undergraduate division, or you can be a graduate student team and only have graduate students on your team. Okay, that's why we have different prizes for undergrad level, graduate level, and so on. The other constraint is your team has to have at least 3 people or at most 4 people. Okay, at least 3, at most 4. And you can work with anybody at your school, right? So that's the other thing is, you can't work with students. You can't form a team with students at a different university. Okay, what we really want to do is whatever that team is that wins at these, the top 10 teams, we want to really showcase your school. We want to showcase your university. But it's kind of awkward if you got, 3 different universities on the same team. So within the university, you can have whoever you want in your team. It could be from some of your friends in your current degree program, or maybe you find somebody, maybe somebody in the business school, somebody in, the data science school, whatever. You can have a multidisciplinary team, and we actually saw that last year with some of the finalists. They had some nice diverse teams. It wasn't just everybody in the business analytics program. Some of them had, somebody from the computer scientists. They had a computer scientist person on the team, or they had like the business person on the team as well. So it's really up to you. There's no hard constraints on what your major is or anything like that. So let's see if I covered everything. Oh, so key dates here. So again, this is our sponsor training session. The case is released today. Prediction Guard's going to walk through that. Again, get it on your calendar for the Azure Fundamentals training that's going to happen 11 to 3 p.m. Friday and Saturday next week. You're probably asking yourself, how do I get to that? Well, here's the link to the certification exams. But to get to the call, what I want you guys to do is just go to the website, and we'll have this updated this week with the new links, okay? With the links for the Microsoft training. So always keep looking back here to find, hey, how do I get access to this call so I can do the training? We'll have it posted there, okay? The very last thing that I want to say is that you can register today, and basically you get access to the Kaggle data, the Kaggle or the case competition data. You get access to the Kaggle website, but you don't have to. So you have until the 17th. Okay, so we wanted to wait a couple weeks after the kickoff call to really lay it out for all you students to showcase, hey, this is really what you're signing up for. Okay, you're signing up for awesome professional development training from Microsoft, free chance to get certified to pad your stats on your resume, awesome case that you can talk about in interviews, that it's not just a prototype. This is what you're probably going to get in a typical university class, a great case that you can highlight how you followed a process like the Certified Analytics Professional JTAs, how you use cloud services, and last but not least, what employers are really looking for, how did you develop that end-to-end solution to possibly deliver that to the client? That is what companies are looking for, you see? So you got a great opportunity here. This competition is like no other competition. And it doesn't even matter if you win, you got that experience, you got a great example to talk about, hey, this is what I learned. This is what I kind of lessons learned. I tried to do this. I realized later that wasn't the best way to go about it. But you're getting some great experience here that you're probably not going to get from, one of your classes at school. All right. I'm going to go and try to fill some of these questions in the chat. And I'm going to hand it over to Dan at Prediction Guard.
Hey, great intro. This is super exciting. Hello, everyone. Great to meet you. After I heard that intro yesterday in the call, I was pretty excited about everything coming together, and kind of jealous about all the things you're going to get to take part in. There's a lot of great learnings there, and maybe I can lurk in the background for some of those. Well, let me share my screen here. Okay, share the right one. All right. So what I'm planning to do here is just do a little bit of an introduction to myself, a little bit of an introduction to Prediction Guard, our company, and what we're working on. And the reason I want to do that is because I think it will make quite a bit of sense why we're thinking about the problem that we've proposed here in the case competition. And then I'm going to go right into talking about the case competition itself, the data related to it. And then I'm going to switch a bit and show an example way that you can, get started with your solution. So literally, I'm going to pull up some code and show you a way to solve the problem. So no excuses. You will at least be able to solve the problem in the way that I'm about to show you. And of course, we'll share that example code with you to get you going. Another thing to note here is, as it will become clear as you learn a little bit about what we're doing, Prediction Guard provides access to a bunch of state-of-the-art large language models. And our goal with this case competition is that we would like you to use some of those open access, permissively licensed large language models to solve this problem. That's what we would like to see in the solution. So as Matthew mentioned, you're free to use anything that you want, but really the focus and the spirit of this competition is we would like you to use some state-of-the-art large language models to solve this problem. And specifically, we would like you to use open access ones. So I'll explain what that means here in a second. You can host those and use them on Azure. You can also access them through Prediction Guard. We're actually going to provide you with a token. As long as you're a registered team, we're going to provide you with a token so you can get free access to use models like Llama 2 and others to solve some of these problems. So let me give you a little bit of an introduction to myself. My name is Daniel Whitenack. This is where you can find me all over the interwebs. I've got a background in data science, started in data science around 2012 or something like that. Have built a couple of different data teams at different startups, consulted with people like New York Times and Mozilla and others. And most recently built a data team at a larger international NGO called SIL. But in January, I founded a new company called Prediction Guard. I'll talk a little bit about what that is in this talk. And if you're a fan of podcasts, check out Practical AI. This is a podcast that I co-host. And if you're interested in AI, which I hope you are, if you're participating in this, check that out if you like podcasts. Let me go into kind of the types of problems that we're solving at Prediction Guard and what we're providing. And that will sort of frame why we're thinking about this particular problem as part of this case competition. As you all probably have already tried, if you're like me, you're using ChatGPT or something like it every day. And there's a lot of people across in various industries that go to something like ChatGPT, which is a large language model, and they figure out, hey, this thing can solve problems for me in an amazing way. And the next thing they think is, okay, that's great. Now I want to use that as part of my business and integrate it into my enterprise software. And then things become a little bit more difficult. So as you probably are aware, a large language model, it just spits out a bunch of text back at you, which might be kind of magical if it gives you a great answer, but it's also still just unstructured text output. It's inconsistent. And so you might, end up with something like this. It's like, okay, language models are great. Now give me the sentiment of this statement. And you get out some sort of goofy output like what I've shown below, which isn't really that useful if you're just trying to label data or something like that in an automated way. Further beyond that, those sort of issues, generally this technology scares people that are working in regulated industries, or even people that aren't working in regulated industries, but just see the risk associated with hallucinations or PII going into these models, or injection vulnerabilities, all sorts of things like that. So you might sort of imagine a company, let's say a healthcare provider, like we're going to be talking about as part of this case competition. They have their own internal systems that are HIPAA compliant. They've made everything secure. They're serving their customers. And then they bring in one of these large language models, and they get a bunch of not that useful text vomit output into their systems. And at the same time, they're making their customers sad because they're hallucinating answers to them. They're making everybody else mad because it costs a lot of money and there's unreliability, and they're opening up risk. So at Prediction Guard, we want to help companies overcome this. Right now, some of them are trying to overcome these issues with a bunch of engineering time and wrappers around large language models, expensive self-hosting. But we think people should be able to get consistent, structured output from these types of AI systems in a safe and trustworthy way, without spending a year trying to build out their own system. So what our solution does is it lets you control and structure and constrain the output of LLM. So instead of just asking an LLM for sentiment, like I showed before, you can maybe ask multiple large language models, multiple ones that are open and privacy conserving, and actually get a structured output, which is constrained to maybe one of 3 classes that you're interested in. So this is one of the areas that we're focused on. The other is kind of making sure that we architect our system such that we can deploy it with enterprise customers in a way that keeps the legal people and the security people and the finance people happy, that PII isn't being leaked, and they have control over their data, and they're not going into extraordinary costs with this type of system. So that's really what we're after with Prediction Guard, is we're providing this way for enterprise customers to integrate these AI systems at scale in a safe and trustworthy way that they really want to. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a demo of the outputs of Prediction Guard here in a second. But if you're interested to kind of look through some of this, you can go to docs.predictionguard.com. That kind of gives you some info about this. So, for example, here, some of you might be familiar with the OpenAI API if you've worked with OpenAI before. With OpenAI, you say, hey, I want to do, normally you would say openai.completion.create, and you would complete some prompt like this. Well, with Prediction Guard, it's very similar. Actually, it's almost the same, except you have kind of extra goodness on top of it, where you can define a sort of output constraint, like a categorical output, like I just mentioned, or you can institute some factuality and toxicity checks. So if you want to make sure that, hey, if I'm asking this, how many products are listed in this statement here, I can actually get an integer out, and I can check the factuality of that automatically. We also have sort of factuality scores and toxicity scores that you can combine with your output. And all of this kind of leads to interesting things that you can do in a similar way to some things that people are doing with large language models. but using these sort of safe guardrails and constraints on the models. So that's really what we're up to. Let me go on and show a little bit now about the case. So if you think about, hey, as a company, Prediction Guard, we're wanting to help people that are maybe a little bit hesitant to implement this latest wave of AI technologies because of maybe the risk associated with them or the privacy concerns or the consistency concerns. But also industries where there could be a lot gained and a lot of value provided by these large language models. And one of those that kind of fits right into the centralized place of where this might be useful is healthcare. So if you think about the healthcare industry, we've got really amazing doctors, we've got nurses, we've got volunteers who are working at hospice centers or maybe mental health clinics or other types of clinics, or around the world, people that are working at all sorts of clinics. And they're capacity constrained and they want to serve more people, right? But one of the constraints of their own job is that not only do they have to do the actual medical work and the medical procedures and patient visits and care provider visits, but they also have to document that very, very detailed and very privately. So when they see a patient, they have to fill out a whole bunch of forms about why was that patient there, who was the patient, how are they identified, what actually happened during the visit, what's the follow-up, what drugs were prescribed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all of this documentation sort of starts piling up to where it's an extreme burden on these medical professionals and the volunteers that are working in sort of clinics all around the world. So what we would like to do is help with that. As Prediction Guard, we would like to find a way that we can use these sort of state-of-the-art large language models to help these professionals fill out their medical forms and the documentation in a much more efficient way, but also in a way that's very accurate and privacy conserving. So to give you a sense of the problem that we're looking at here, we're really looking at taking something like this, which is, you could imagine having a doctor that sees a patient, in this case, Don Hicks, and afterwards they make a dictation in an audio recorder about the visit that's transcribed. And normally it would be some other person, a human, not a computer system, that would take this sort of unstructured text and put it into a form that looks something like this. So who's the patient? Don. He's 81. These are his symptoms. These are the precautions that the doctor suggested to the patient. As you can imagine, this process of going from this unstructured form to this structured form is quite time consuming. And not only that, but it's something that likely large language models can be quite good at. And so the case competition is really centered around the following. Can you use a large language model, and specifically an open access large language model, to take unstructured dictations like this or patient-doctor conversations and extract various form fields out of those to pre-fill medical forms, maybe for review and post-editing by humans? And this could dramatically speed up the process in a lot of healthcare organizations, provide a ton of value, and allow doctors and nurses and volunteers the opportunity to actually treat more patients and help more people because they're not bogged down by so much paperwork. Now, there's a few sort of challenges and constraints that I'd like to propose here and let you know about this competition. The first is that we would like you, Prediction Guard and our stakeholders who have thought about this case, would like you to really focus on using open LLMs for this. So there's certainly really, really great systems that are closed source systems. So those would be like, OpenAI and Cohere and Anthropic and all of these. And it's not to say you couldn't use these to architect a solution, but what we're looking for as a winning solution here is creative use of open LLMs or open models to solve this problem. And those can be accessed through Azure infrastructure, as I'm sure you'll find out with like Llama 2 and other models. Those can be accessed in a free way through what we're giving you with Prediction Guard. So you will have access to these LLMs. That's not a problem. So we would like you to try to use these open LLMs to solve this problem. And the reason for that is that healthcare providers have a preference for this. This is something that we've heard over and over in talking to clients. They would prefer to host these sort of models in their own infrastructure and have control over those models and know what model they're using and how it's updated so that they can really, in a rigorous way, control the system and make sure that they maintain their compliance and other things. So that's the reason why we're focused on this. If you have questions, happy to answer those. Also, the output for, as I'll show you here in a second, that we're looking for is natural text output. So it should focus on, informational correctness. It should be accurate to the transcript, right? You can assume that the transcripts that we're going to give you are accurate. But the output that we want is in natural text, because that's how a human would fill out a form, right? If a human's filling out a form, they're going to put natural text down into that text field, and that's what we're wanting to fill in. So again, think about this like filling in a medical form. Okay. Now, I want to go ahead and shift over here to the Kaggle competition. So as Matthew mentioned, this will be launching later today, and we'll be able to share all of what you're seeing here with you, except for this host tab, because you won't be host, but you'll see something like this. You'll see in Kaggle where there's an overview, data, code, discussion, leaderboard, rules. And so you can navigate through all of these. As of now, there's no leader because there's no teams and no submissions. But this is where you'll be able to track that leaderboard for your submissions for the Kaggle portion of this competition. There's some general information on this overview tab, some of which you've already seen on the Purdue website. This just describes the problem. Here's a little bit more about the details about the problem. I showed you a doctor dictation, but some of what you'll see in the data as well is actually doctor-patient conversations. And I should say that all of the doctor-patient conversations, the dictations, these are all simulated and or anonymized conversations. And, that's for obvious reasons because, there are privacy issues with bringing in actual data. But these are something like, what you can see here where someone's coming in and a medical problem is being described between a patient and a doctor, for example. And all of these are kind of realistic conditions and symptoms and all of that sort of thing. So you'll see conversations or transcriptions that look like this. And we want to extract the answers to certain questions from those. And so in the test data, you'll see something like this where there's an ID field. This is just the ID of this sample, this row. There's a transcript number. So this number corresponds to one of these transcripts. And then there's a question. So what is the patient's name? And your job in the case competition is to use, again, an open LLM to try and prompt that LLM to try to answer this question. And here, that may just be a single call to the model, but really, again, it's up to you all how you want to solve this problem. Be creative. Maybe you create reasoning chain and make multiple calls to the LLM, one to summarize the conversation, then one to extract the answer, then one to check the answer, then one to rephrase the answer. You can construct and be creative and use these models in all sorts of ways via chaining and augmentation and different types of prompting. So be creative, try to find a solution to these problems. And when you submit your answer, you'll submit it in the following form. So again, the ID that's associated with the row that you're parsing, and then the text answer to the question here. So what is the patient's name? Maybe it's Jane Doe. What is the patient's condition? Maybe it's influenza. And so you want to answer these questions in natural text, and that's what we're looking for. In terms of data itself, maybe one interesting thing about this this competition is we provided this tests.csv, which includes just what I showed you, and all of the transcriptions. So you can see some example transcriptions here. But there's a test set, there's no explicit training set, and that's because these state-of-the-art open LLMs like Llama 2, which thank you to Microsoft for having such a great part in creating Llama 2 and releasing it openly to the public. These state-of-the-art large language models like Llama 2 are really powerful out of the box, and we want to see how much you can do with the prompting and the reasoning chains that you put on top of these models to solve this problem. Now, if you want to fine-tune one of these models for these purposes, again, use whatever techniques you want. You'll learn about that in the Azure training, I'm sure. So if you want to try that, it's something to try. But our kind of baseline intention is that you would take, existing pre-trained models like Llama 2 and try to prompt them to solve this problem. So I've been talking for a while. I want to show you, as I promised, here's a way to solve the problem. So take notes. Here's a very minimal solution, but this is what we are meaning by the type of solution that we're looking for. Remember, it's using a large language model, using an open large language model like Llama 2. You could use that through Prediction Guard, which you'll get access to. You could use it through Azure services. You could use it through other services. But that's what we're looking for. Here, I'm going to use it through Prediction Guard. So some of you might use Python to solve the problem. Again, there's no constraint on that. You can use these models through any other language. But here, I'm going to show it via Python. So you can install the Prediction Guard client here. I'm just going to do some Python imports. In order to use the Prediction Guard system, you'll need an access token, which we will get you if you are legitimately registered for the competition. And we'll send those out via email and follow up with that. But here I'm going to put in mine. Okay. Now, as most of you probably know, if you've interacted with ChatGPT or other large language models, is the way that you interact with these is you give them a prompt and then you get a result of that prompt. And what the model is doing, it's just auto-completing your prompt. So here I'm saying, hey, here's an instruction, tell me a joke. What's your response to that? And I'm going to use the 7 billion parameter Llama model. Again, you'll be able to use this via the Prediction Guard API. And let's just see what it responds with. So, okay, it responded with, what do you call a man with a rubber toe, rubber shoe? So I don't know if that seems like a poor joke, but I didn't give it many instructions. But this is how these large language models work, right? You give it a prompt and then it gets a result. Now let's see how that might work out for this competition. So as I mentioned, you're going to get a transcripts file. And here's one of those example transcripts about Don Hicks, like I showed in the slides. You're going to get test data, which includes questions about those transcripts. So this is transcript 2055. And I've got these questions I need to answer from this transcript. So let me define that transcript as a variable here. And I'm just going to create a really simple prompt that gives the instruction, extract the patient's condition from the below input. And then I'm going to sub in this transcript. And we'll just see if Llama 2 can answer out of the box. All right, Don Hicks is 81 years old and presented with a fungal infection. And then it continues on to tell me all sorts of other stuff, which is kind of repetitive. But it did get the right answer, right? So the right answer to this, and I'm giving you one of the answers, so take notes if you want. The right answer to this one would be fungal infection, right? Because that's the condition that's represented in this transcript. So the large language model gave me that answer, but along with a bunch of other output. And so part of your job, or part of the AI engineering that you'll need to do for this competition is to actually figure out how to get these models to provide you with consistent output that is the preferred answer, not just a paragraph or a poem about the answer, but we want the actual answer that the doctor or the nurse would put down. In terms of learning more about how to do that, I've also put some resources down here. There's a workshop that I gave at ODSC a couple times this year around using large language models. And if you look at these, I actually walk through, hey, how do you do the basic prompts for a large language model? How do you do some prompt engineering of large language models with few shot examples and other things? And so you can take a look at all these examples. This is available and out in the open. There's also a couple other prompt engineering guides here that I would recommend. There's the Prediction Guard docs, which I've already showed you. And here's some more information about these open large language models. Just to clarify what I mean by an open large language model, this would be a model that is open, meaning I can download it and host it myself. Like you could host it in Azure if you want, or access it through Prediction Guard, because we're already hosting these. And it's permissively licensed. I can distribute it and use it commercially and use it for whatever purpose I want. One way that you can find these, if you're not familiar with Hugging Face is a community online where you can find these models. And if you just go to the models section here, and then you look at tasks over here on the right-hand side, and then click on text generation, and then you can actually filter by licenses, and you can see all these licenses here, some of which are more permissive than others, but all of these are released into the hub. So you can see Llama 2 here. Thank you to Meta and Microsoft and others for working on that. And then you can read a little bit how to use it, or again, many of these we already have implemented in Prediction Guard, and you can just access them simply like this. So I think I've blabbed enough, Matthew. Just a reminder to get the points for this. Here's that link for my presentation, this tinyurl.com/Purdue-good. Go ahead and I'll just put this up here. Go ahead and go to this link. That is the survey link from which you'll get the points for this section. So tinyurl.com/Purdue-good. Let me go ahead. I'm going to paste that into the chat as well right now, and see if there's any questions as they're coming up. So.
Thank you, Dan. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I basically got through all of them.
Okay, good.
And the main thing I'm thinking about, just trying to put myself in the student's shoes. If you're an analytics or data science student, you're probably just like so pumped about this competition. But I want to make it crystal clear that this competition is not just for that audience. It is for everybody. everybody in the office, no matter what industry you're going to be working in, everybody's trying to figure out, how do I effectively use these new technologies to be a better contributor on my team, to help make our products better. There's so many ways you can use these LLMs, and don't just gloss over it like, oh, that's not for me. It is for you, and you will regret it if you're not trying to get up to speed on this stuff now before you get into the industry.
Yes, yeah, I would encourage you. The best way, so no one has 5 years of experience using this sort of technology, because it's not 5 years old. We're all learning basically at the same time. There's a lot of great resources. I put some of them there in that notebook. And as you're needing more resources, I'm going to be around in the Kaggle discussion boards and in other places. So more than happy to point you all to various things as you're going along.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Again, you got to register for the competition. Once you register by Tuesday, we will get you loaded into the pitch platform, where you'll be able to see this recording, access the slides, get access to the Kaggle website where the data is that Dan was just walking through. Just anyhow, really excited to have you part of this competition, and I hope you guys have a great Labor Day weekend. Thank you.
Bye.